Chapter 3. Cañculā's Disillusion and Detachment. In the serene and ancient forest of Naimisharanya, where the air itself seemed to hum with the vibrations of countless sacred chants, Śaunaka, a sage of profound wisdom and devotion, sat amidst a circle of devoted disciples. The towering trees, draped with vines, whispered the secrets of the cosmos, as if they, too, were eager to listen to the stories that had the power to transcend time. With eyes filled with reverence and a heart brimming with the desire to immerse himself deeper into the divine tales of Lord Shiva, Śaunaka addressed Sūta, the revered storyteller, whose wisdom and knowledge were renowned across the land. "O Sūta, blessed sage of great intellect," Śaunaka began, his voice a gentle caress to the ear, "thou art a beacon of light in this dark age. Every tale you share brings forth the nectar of wisdom, quenching the thirst of our souls and leading us closer to the divine. My heart rejoices with each ancient story you recount, tales that not only enlighten but elevate us, igniting the flame of devotion within." He paused, his eyes reflecting the depth of his longing. "Please, Sūta, narrate another story, one that will further deepen our devotion to the great Lord Shiva. For I know, as do all who have been blessed to hear your words, that nowhere in this vast world does the nectar of worldly pleasures grant liberation. But the nectar of Shiva's stories, it is different. It bestows salvation upon all who drink of it. Blessed indeed are you, and blessed is the tale of Shiva, for upon hearing it, even the most lost soul may find their way to Siva-loka." Sūta, touched by the sincerity and devotion of Śaunaka, smiled gently. His voice, rich and resonant, filled the air as he replied, "O Śaunaka, your devotion and thirst for knowledge are as deep as the ocean. It is said that knowledge is a treasure, and the one who seeks it with such purity of heart is deserving of all the blessings it can bestow. You asked for a story, a tale that reveals the mysteries of Lord Shiva and leads the listener to the ultimate truth. I shall narrate one, though it is a secret known to few. Yet, because you are the foremost among the Vedic scholars and a leading devotee of Shiva, I shall share it with you." The gathered disciples leaned in closer, their anticipation palpable. Sūta continued, "There exists a remote seaside village named Bāṣkala, a place shrouded in darkness, far removed from the light of Vedic virtue. The people there are devoid of true knowledge and are engrossed in sinful, brutish ways. They are wicked debauchees, atheists, and adulterous rogues who have strayed far from the path of righteousness." Sūta's voice grew more somber as he described the village, painting a vivid picture of the depravity that reigned in Bāṣkala. "The men and women alike, lost in their desires and devoid of discipline, lead lives of deception and vice. They indulge in slander, gossip, and all manner of evil, with no regard for the dharma that guides righteous living. Among them was a base brahmin named Binduga, whose actions would seal his fate in the fires of hell." Binduga, though born into a family of learned scholars, had long since abandoned the virtues expected of him. He was ensnared by the charms of a prostitute, forsaking his beautiful and devoted wife, Cañculā. His obsession with the harlot consumed him, leading him deeper into the mire of sin until his heart and mind were entirely corrupted. Years passed in this manner, with Binduga indulging in his illicit pleasures, while Cañculā, overwhelmed by her own youthful desires, struggled with her loneliness. Initially, she bore her suffering with patience, hoping that her husband would one day return to her. But as time went on and her passions became unbearable, she too succumbed to temptation. In secret, she began an affair with another man, giving in to the same carnal desires that had ensnared her husband. One fateful night, Binduga returned home unexpectedly and caught Cañculā in the act with her lover. Blinded by rage, he rushed at them, but the lover, hearing Binduga's approach, fled into the night. Left alone with his wife, Binduga unleashed his fury upon her, beating her and cursing her for her infidelity. But Cañculā, enraged and defiant, spat venomous words back at him. "You who have cast me aside for the embrace of a harlot, dare to condemn me? I am a woman of youth and beauty, driven by desires that you, my husband, have neglected. Tell me, what was I to do? Should I have withered away, unloved and untouched, while you wallowed in your own debauchery?" Binduga, struck by the truth of her words and driven by his own twisted logic, replied, "You speak the truth, Cañculā. It is indeed unfair to deny you what I myself have indulged in. But listen to me, let us make an agreement. You may continue your liaisons, take as many lovers as you wish, and extract wealth from them. But all that you gain you must bring to me, so that I may continue to lavish my harlot with the riches she desires. In this way we shall both find satisfaction." Cañculā, delighted by this perverse proposal, agreed, and so the two entered into a corrupt pact, each indulging in their sinful desires without fear or remorse. Years passed, and eventually the wicked Binduga met his end. He was cast into the darkest pits of hell, where he endured unimaginable tortures for his sins. His soul, twisted and blackened, was condemned to wander as a ghost in the desolate Vindhya mountains, unable to find peace. Cañculā, left alone after her husband's death, continued her licentious ways, but as time wore on, her beauty faded and her once numerous lovers dwindled. One day, driven by a desire for change, or perhaps by some subconscious guilt, she accompanied her kinsman on a pilgrimage to the holy temple of Bāṣkala. It was here, in this sacred place, that fate intervened. Cañculā, having bathed in a holy pond as part of the pilgrimage rituals, happened upon a gathering where a learned brahmin was reciting the Shiva Purāṇa. The words she heard filled her with a terror unlike any she had ever known. The brahmin spoke of the terrible punishments awaiting women who, like her, had indulged in sinful pleasures, specifically detailing how the servants of Yama, the god of death, would torture such women in hell. These words struck her heart with the force of a thunderbolt, and for the first time in her life, Cañculā was overcome with true fear and remorse. When the discourse ended and the people began to disperse, she rushed to the Brahmin, her heart pounding with dread. She fell at his feet and, with trembling voice, confessed her sins. "Oh, noble sir," she began, tears streaming down her face, "I have committed grievous sins, blinded by lust and ignorance. I spent my youth in the arms of many men, forsaking all that is good and righteous. Today, as I listened to your discourse, my heart was struck with terror. I now realize the depth of my folly, and I tremble at the thought of the fate that awaits me. Please, I beg of you, show me a way to atone for my sins, to cleanse myself of this burden before it is too late." The Brahmin, moved by her sincerity and the depth of her despair, spoke words of wisdom and compassion. He explained that while her sins were indeed great, the path to redemption was not closed to her. With devotion, penance, and unwavering faith in Lord Shiva, she could purify her soul and avoid the terrible fate she so feared. Cañculā, clinging to these words like a drowning person grasping at a lifeline, vowed to change her ways. She renounced her sinful past and dedicated herself wholly to the worship of Lord Shiva, seeking his mercy and forgiveness. And so, through the grace of Shiva and the guidance of the wise Brahmin, Cañculā was redeemed. The once wayward woman who had wandered so far from the path of righteousness found her way back to the light, her soul cleansed and her heart at peace. Sūta's voice trailed off, leaving the forest silent but for the rustle of leaves and the distant calls of birds. The disciples sat in awe, absorbing the tale's lessons on the dangers of straying from Dharma and the redemptive power of devotion. Śaunaka, deeply moved by the story, bowed his head in gratitude. "Truly, Sūta, your words are like the nectar of immortality, leading us to the highest truth. This tale of Cañculā serves as a reminder that no soul is beyond redemption if it turns to the divine with sincerity and humility. We are blessed to have heard it." And thus, in the sacred grove of Naimisharanya, the eternal truths of the cosmos were once more revealed, guiding all who listened on the path to liberation.